This is Foundry. Foundry can be described as a procedurally generated, voxel-based automation game where your goal as the player is to design and create production facilities and intricate transport networks to, and I quote, become the galaxy's leading robotics megacorp. All of you awesome people that follow the channel for longer may remember me talking about it here, back in May 2024. Now, after about 18 months of idling inside of my Steam library, I decided to blow off the dust and play through not just the beginning, but the entirety of what Foundry has to offer in late 2025. This video will summarize my found key concepts and important takeaways I stumbled along the way. Oh, I should also mention that the game is still in early access as a small disclaimer. Okay, now let's begin with Chapter 1. Xenoferrite, Technum and First Research. Being greeted by the trusty drop pod at the tutorial, my first objective was to set up mining and smelting for the start resources, just like last time. Both node types typically spawn decently close to each other for all drone miners to sit on the same low voltage grid. With the belts of plates and rods ready, assemblers will come into play to fabricate other ingredients down the production chain. Forward by a few minutes and the first fresh science packs make their way towards a research server to unlock new technology. One of such and the next raw material in the list is ignium ore. As a reddish carbon-like resource, it is used in steel production together with xenoferrite, plus the better fuel source for powering the low voltage grid. No more time-consuming biomass gathering required, yes. While we are on the subject of time saving, I want to strongly endorse everybody to automate oft-used buildings from this point on out. Especially belts, foundations, assemblers and loaders are a must in my opinion. Another material added into the system is going to be mineral rock. The limestone-looking rubble is needed for concrete production and for making glass. With the base continuously growing as technology is being unlocked, we transition into chapter number 2, expanding outwards, bot fabrication and a space station in need of repair. The game makes a decent effort for introducing the concept of interplanetary economics, how spaceships work, and details about the galactic market. In addition, we are being informed of the outstanding debt of a whopping 5 million Fermalite that needs to be paid off somehow, giving me PTSD flashbacks to my university student days. However, the situation is not quite hopeless as it seems at first glance. Their taxes are exclusively charged on overall profits instead of being set to something like repeating time intervals, which I'm very grateful for. To generate bespoke profit, assemblers are able to craft a variety of robots that can be shipped and sold at the space station. While it is certainly attractive to just add those into the existing base, I would recommend to go the extra step and detach bot manufacturing into its own outpost. Just the two starter versions, namely transport bots and vacuum bots alone, average general ingredient demand at around 100 xenoferrite and 100 technum ore to meet sales platform quota. Sure, this will involve finding another decent location and a lot of running back and forth, but it will be worth it in the long run. Watching the cargo ship take off with the first batch of goods and shortly following, getting the first paycheck, got the factory ready to move on to chapter number 3, Fiery Debts and Black Gold. In contrary to what I initially thought, Fermalite is not just a virtual currency. The funny silver shining bars can be shipped down from the space station and distributed to the factory as actual items. Green science packs make use of 2 bars per crafting iteration. Aside from that, elevators will be bringing down Fermalite onto the fiery hot lava floor, where lava smelters turn bars into Fermalite sheets, an essential crafting ingredient for almost all advanced products and yellow science. In total, progressing in research and being able to manufacture higher tier components necessitate a constant, somewhat stable source of income. I hope you can see why I was so insistent on outsourcing bot production to their own factory in the previous chapter. With that said, other research did also unlock olumite, a dark blue liquid found in greyish resource deposits, the so to say black gold of Foundry. Extract it with a pump jack and run it through a distillation tower to acquire liquid polymer. Polymer can be turned solid and crafted together with electronic components into circuit boards. Similar to Fermalite sheets, circuit boards come up in many crafting recipes of higher tier machines and for yellow science as well. Switching back to solid raw materials, all existing resources are currently broken from the source by mining drones and brought back to their hub, which outputs all goods onto a connected transport belt. When focusing towards producing the last science pack, however, a new component requires a different mining approach for getting rubble out of the ground. Let's learn more about mentioned topic in chapter number 4, pink pellets, tunnel boring and long distance shipping. The material in question is called taloxite. a rosé-colored crystalline resource only ever found in large rock formations called ore veins. Looking at it the other way around, not only tellexite but also every other resource can be found in an ore vein structure scattered around the surface. When examining one of such, we can spot a few resource access points within the dark, unminable stone pillar. To get to such a spot, I'd recommend bringing over a drill ship to carve out a transport route rather than mining to it by hand. After arrival, a powered ore vein miner will assist in extracting shiny materials. Specifically for tellexite, I would recommend to do the first processing steps, namely crushing and smelting into ingots directly at the extraction point. The final on-site activity will be deciding on a way for bringing resources back to base. The usual way of doing such involves cargo shuttles. These flying trucks will carry up to 10 stacks of items from one place to another. The more interesting way for solving long-distance travel requires you to send materials to the space station at an outpost. Back at base, we can set up a second shipping pad to bring mentioned resources back down to the surface. Managing transportation in this particular way has the major upside of fixed travel times. Flying into orbit and dropping back down to ground takes about 40 seconds for a spaceship, whereas cargo shuttles' travel time scale up and down according to the distance between start and finish. Anyway, with every material now at the base, it is time for the final chapter 5. Robots on rails, modular machinery, and what lies beyond. Late game high-tier ingredients and special-made producers are necessary to populate the galactic market with the most advanced robots. These machines are quite unique in their design, forming a multi-stage assembly line where arms and legs are attached to a torso, then welded together to form a single unit before getting touched up with a nice coat of paint. I can guarantee you that daily profits will double or even triple in no time at all. To keep up with such a serious demand of components, modular buildings can raise efficiency for smelting raw material. Technum and xenoferrite rubble started with a 100% conversion rate into rods and plates. With the help of the giant blast furnace, material ratio can jump up to 300%. One ore rubble now equivalates to 3 items on the output side. Let all systems run for a while and the debt is finally paid off, and so the new income can now be freely spent on upgrading the station, getting missing trade licenses, and expanding the spaceship fleet. As it stands right now, we officially cleared our main objective and built a powerful industry on the way to it. Congratulations, engineer, you did it! Personal thoughts and overall impression. Ignoring some minor hiccups, I definitely enjoyed the time progressing through the game. Unlocking research and building new structures felt meaningful and satisfying. It took me about 66 hours in total, though I'm quite positive that you could get it below 50 or perhaps 40 with a more serious approach on speed. With the game being in early access, feedback can help direct the development process onto a good route, which is why I want to quickly point out 3 good and bad features about Foundry. The biggest grudge I had with logistics was what I would call assembler item hogging. For some reason, every crafting machine insisted on filling up their output side completely. Funnily enough, input items limit themselves to a few iterations for the set recipe, so why not do the same on the output? On the contrary, building any type of construction felt really good and efficient after getting used to the controls. Little things like the pipette tool, being able to copy-paste recipes in loader directions, plus mass disassemble help more than you might think. I do have a small critique point though related to modular building. For some structures, it is quite hard to gauge input and output numbers inside the build planner. Most machines have a speed parameter, but this helps very little when you do not know the base value of what 100% speed actually means. I'm sure that having throughput displayed somewhere would go a long way. Speaking of long way, exploring around the map, especially in the early game, was a bit exhausting and almost felt like the game strongly discouraging early expansion. It does get better after unlocking tier 3 escalators, greatly increasing walking speed as you travel from one outpost to another. In addition, multiple devlog entries have teaser trains for a future update. Okay, let's go out a bit and talk about the game's performance. I have to give it to the devs. Almost no early access title I played in the past ran as well as Foundry does. No frame stutters or FPS drops, no game breaking bugs, and not a single crash to report. Lastly, my biggest plus point as of right now is the content richness of the game, including multiple planet versions, obviously a complete procedurally generated infinite surface to play on, a lot of cool machineries already implemented, and the entirety of what galactic commerce sums up to. If any of these points sounded convincing to you as well, I would recommend you try out Foundry for yourself. Thank you very much for watching and have a nice rest of your day. Peace!